Happy Arvo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me today. Why you should watch the Bathurst 1000. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. The Bathurst 1000. The Bathurst. Why can't I say that word? The Bathurst 1000 is Australia's biggest race. Okay, now I know. Why should I watch it? Okay. I don't know. I really don't know. What can I even say? Let's watch.
Throw down a list.
Well, I guess I can say go check out Josh Revel. Assuming this is an epic video, which I optimistically believe it will be.
Of the great races, and you'll no doubt get the likes of the Indy 500 and 24 Hour of Le Mans. But the one race that I look forward to is one that takes place on a hill in the middle of the worst state in Australia. Look, I'm sorry New South Wales, but you have this, and this. But getting back on track here, the race in question is the Bogan Festival, that is the Bathurst
Bogan
1000, and will serve as the final round of this year's Supercars Championship. Now I'm
Wait, you're allowed to play bumper cars?
sure some of you will be wondering how this could compare with the likes of the Indy 500, Daytona 500, or the 24 Hour Le Mans. Well, sit down, if you aren't already, and let me give you the skinny. In 1960, the Light Car Club of Australia organised a race called the Armstrong 500, which was being held at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit over 500 miles with standard production cars. It was divided into classes.
It looks so dangerous. I love this. I wish I could go back.
Based on engine capacity, or price, or the customer's hair colour, but by 1962, the track surface was falling apart like Joe Soward in a heatwave, and thus the race needed a new home, and they found it at the Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst, New South Wales. The 3.9 mile circuit hosted its first event in 1963. The race was extended from 500 miles to 1,000 kilometres in 1973, and also served as the 8th round of the World Touring Car Championship back in 1987. Nowadays, the 1,000 kilometre event is run as part of the popular Supercars Championship that is held throughout Australasia. Known as the Great Race down in this part of the world, this event has seen some insane races and some spectacular moments in its history, and there is every reason why you should be watching this event. So I'm going to provide a rundown of this year's event and convince you as to why this is the great race.
Okay, alright. I just wanted to pause and say, just so you guys know, yeah, I'm sure it's already evident, and it will be more evident, I don't know anything about racing.
So as I've mentioned before,
So if I sound really stupid, that's why, and I'm sure I will.
the race is held at the Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. This thing is regarded as one of the best racetracks in the world, and having made the trip to the venue over the last couple of years, there's good reason for it. The first turn drivers have to negotiate is Hell Corner. It's easy to get it wrong here, and if you do, you're gonna have a real...
Hold on, what was that Wendy's logo? Is that a different Wendy's? Why is it a heart? Do you guys have a different Wendy's over there
You're gonna have
than the fast food place?
a real bad time. It's also vital to get a good exit out of this corner for a good run up Milton Straight, the second longest straight on the circuit. The cars will become slightly airborne over the hump before heading into the negatively cambered Griffin's Bend.
I will say this looks way more intense than NASCAR, to be honest. NASCAR, they just drive in like a loop, and it seems kind of boring to me. For that reason, this looks a little more interesting and exciting.
But be careful not to stray too far offline here, otherwise you're gonna smack. Running up the hill, the next series of corners is at the cutting, which has a steep 1 in 6 gradient exit, and trust me, it's a bastard to walk up. But with the cars, it's even more precarious, as any wrong footing will lead to big problems. Oh yeah, that incident? Well, to explain what happened here, I've drafted in an Aussie to give you the lowdown.
Oh good.
Seriously, a lot can happen over the course of 1,000 kilometers. And a perfect example of this was in 2005, where two drivers would quite literally go head to head, but outside of the car. The two drivers being Marcus Ambrose and Greg Murphy would collide on lap 144 and leave behind what looked like a 8-cylinder car park behind them. Ambrose was ahead of Murphy.
How much would that suck to be a part of?
The
After all that. Because then you're just out of the race, aren't you?
Exit of Griffin's, but quickly ended up sideways after being tagged by Murphy. Well, depending on how you look at it. Ambrose's car would then mount the barrier and almost look like it was going to fall over the other side into the bushland. After the two cars came to a stop, Murphy stood in front of his car as Ambrose got out made his charge towards him, taking off his helmet, then his balaclava, of course, his gloves. The two drivers had some friendly words,
the gloves
pointed
are off.
fingers, and yelled at each other like two blokes having a disagreement at the pub. The legend of this moment will always be in my memory. Two blokes wanting to just beat the living daylights out of each other on a mountain out in the middle of nowhere in New South Wales. This to me is Australian motorsport in its prime.
Thank you very much, Gio, for coming along. So coming out of the cutting, we're into Reed Park, which for the first section of that could be rather uneventful. However, the second right turn, you kinda need to get that right, otherwise you're in for a big ass crash. But if you do manage to crash at this section of the track, at least you'll be at peace of mind knowing that you're at the top of the mountain and with the fine folk that camp at this section of the track.
No way. This is what they're doing while spectating?
Next section of the track is called McMahon Park, and this is where the track begins to edge a little more on the scary side. In fact, with it comes the shortest horror story in motor racing history, Wide at the Great. Why is this scary? Well...
could not steer the car. Whitcup, Craig Loud, Zinger replay, Steve Johnson had just got Taylor.
So car crashes just happen constantly. Is that? It's like everything he's talking about is like, if you do this, you're going to crash. If you do that, you're going to crash. This is when people crashed. Oh, you know, crash, crash, crash. So that's like part of the thing, huh? They're just expected to crash.
It just got away from up here. You'll see it. Oh, they both went in. John Cena!
Going on from there, the cars will scream through McPhillamy Park, a fast section of the track with a panoramic view across Brock's skyline that reminds you how bloody high you are. So imagine if Frank Montagny was driving. Then we begin to run down the hill, beginning with the S's. It's crucial that you slow down enough through this section, otherwise you're going to learn the hard way that car versus wall often leads to big ouch. Then there's the Dipper, basically the Aussie version of the corkscrew, only with this one there's no runoffs, and it's pretty scary. Coming out of the Dipper, you then make the approach toward Forest Elbow, which is...
And what sucks is when someone in front of you crashes, you, to no fault of your own, there's a high chance you're going to crash because you're going to crash into them, right?
It's a prime overtaking opportunity,
Are you allowed to bump people?
provided you do it right, before making the long run down Conrod Straight. Here the cars get close to or at 300 kilometers an hour. The road rises and falls away as the cars build up speed. For the cars behind, it's an opportunity to get into the draft and prepare for another move at the chase, which is another great opportunity for passing. The one thing you don't want at this part of the track is a tyre failure. But guess what? That's happened here before. Exiting the chase leads you to the final corner at Murray's. A 90-degree corner, you say? Easy, you reckon? Yeah, tell that to Alexander Rossi. And therein is a lap of Mount Panorama, but really, me explaining it doesn't do justice. You need to witness these cars try and put 650 horsepower to the ground on a track barely wide enough for luge racing. As for the teams and drivers, if you're unfamiliar with any of these cats, I'll give you the skinny on some drivers of note. There is Scott McLaughlin, 3-time Supercars champion and the defending Bathurst 1000 winner. Craig Lowndes, 7-time winner on the mountain and 3-time Supercars champion. Jamie Whincup, 7-time Supercars champion and 4-time winner of the Great Race. In fact, overall, there are 11 people on the grid who have won the Bathurst 1000 race in the past, although there will be
That's it?
plenty of people hungry for their first Bathurst title, including Toyota Racing Series champion
He's a little baby.
Thomas Randall, British Formula 4 champion Scott Pye, Blancpain GT Series and Supercars champion Shane van Gisbergen, Japan F3 champion and Jaguar F1 test driver James Courtney, and Brody Kostecki, who is...
What?
On a serious note, this guy's f***ing fast. The grid is sorted through a qualifying format where 11th place downwards is decided.
He's fast? I don't really get... See, that's the thing I don't understand is like, isn't it the car that's fast? What do you mean he's fast? Or is it just... He just means he's like... I mean, if you're fast, doesn't that just mean you're like the best? The fastest car is the best, right? That the fastest person who can navigate the track the fastest, that's the winner. Am I making any sense? No. Like I said, I'm gonna sound really stupid.
This guy's f***ing fast. The grid is sorted through a qualifying format where 11th place downwards is decided through the first qualifying session, while the top 10 are decided in a one-lap shootout, which is one of the more spectacular parts of not just the weekend, but the entire season of supercars racing. Pole position is not too bad, although not really vital. Since 1997, there have only been 5 occasions where the pole sitter took victory at the end of the day, so there is a good chance that the
It said 4 times. I cannot math.
fastest car on Saturday will not claim the Peter Brock Trophy on Sunday. So this year's race starts at 11:30 AM Aussie time on the 18th
Oh, this was 3 years ago.
of October, and I beg and plead with anyone unfamiliar with this race to give it a watch.
Hopefully COVID didn't kill this race.
Or don't, and I could just go f*** myself. Or perhaps there are some people viewing this who have watched the race. What are your memories of this race?
I don't have
Let
any.
me know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe.
Well, I mean, that was interesting, especially given I have no idea anything about racing. To me, it does look a lot more interesting than NASCAR. A lot more exciting. With all the tight turns and the different like parts of the track where it's like, oh, he's coming up on this part where you got to do this, and all this history has happened here, and you know that's where those two guys. Yeah, what you say about my mom? And all this type of thing. So, as someone who hasn't really watched racing, this seems like an event I would watch. Oh man! Thank you for watching. Go check out Josh Reville. I knew that video would be good. And thank you for suggesting this, guys. A few people suggested this video. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, for some more Australian reactions. Because that's what we do on this channel, if you haven't figured that out by now. Goodbye.